Hey everyone, welcome to a brand new video here on Ark. Today I'm going to look at my top 5 favorite maps that are available for all consoles and PC. Hopefully you'll enjoy this. If you do, go ahead and press that like button. Don't forget to subscribe. Alright, so Crystal Isles just recently came out, and it did bring us new creatures such as this and the Crystal Wormins. However, I haven't really played it enough to give an honest evaluation of it. So far it's pretty good, but this map will not be in the list just because of the lack of experience. Oh, it's a death worm. Oh, you're so ugly! Alright, well, let's get into our top 5. Alright, so coming in at number 5 is going to be the original, the island. This is where it all started, and it offers plenty of different varieties. So here we have the the herbivore island, where basically you don't have to worry about anything, unless you have primal fear mons like me. We also have Carnivore Island, very dangerous spot on the island, where you can go around and basically kill to your heart's content. There's plenty of creatures. Because I have primal fear, it's loaded up with Indominuses and stuff, but normally you'll find Rexes and, ooh, look at that, Rexes and RGs, Raptors, Carnos, all that fun stuff. As you go more inwards towards the map, you have the beautiful Redwoods. Also a pretty dangerous place, as you can encounter Thylacleos that'll knock you off your mount and stuff like that. But here you have the ability to create tree bases and stuff like that. Probably the harshest biome on the island is going to be the snow area, where you have your dire wolves, your mammoths, and stuff like that. Always very cold. But if you want the opposite of cold, you can come to the volcano, which is where you'll get plenty of your resources. Nice and toasty in here. And then lastly, you have your swamp biome, which is where all the creepy crawlies are. Your titan boas and your frogs and all that fun stuff. Outside of that, you have the cave systems, but there's not a whole lot more to this map. It was the very first released, so it'll always be fun, and most people have played here at least once. But let's get on to the second map. Alright, coming at you with number 4 is going to be Ragnarok. Now this map was a fan-made map that got turned into an official map. And it's very large, plenty of biomes. You start off with your beachy area, and then you go into these kind of grassy waterfall lands. You also have your kind of swampy areas over by the beach, where you'll find your creepy crawlies and crocodiles and all that. Then you have your sort of plains areas. This is where you'll find gigas and all of that fun stuff. We also have a snow biome again, and what's unique about this snow biome, apparently I have an issue going on here. Wow, I don't know what this is about, but okay. So, excuse all that, but the unique thing about this snow biome is that you had ice wormins, where you could go and find their eggs and hatch them up. Okay, and talk about unique, the next area we're going to look at is the charred area. Basically, of a volcano-stricken area. You'll find a lot of your creepy crawlies here, good metal, stuff like that, but the key part of this that Ragnarok introduced was the Wervins. You have all kinds. You have not only the ice ones we mentioned earlier, but you have lightning, poison, and fire, which you can get by stealing the eggs in these caverns. Okay, the next area we're gonna look at is, it's sort of redwood-esque. It's very foresty. Lots of stuff to be had through here, lots of trees. Very beautiful, scenic. And not too far from that, we have the desert biome, which is pretty awesome. For the most part, it's empty, but it will have your creepy crawlies like scorpions and snakes and stuff like that. And in the middle of it, there is a nice oasis here. And they have structures already kind of made, which is very unique. I mean, on the island, you definitely didn't see full-blown structures like that. These bridges here. And basically, it looks like a whole town. Something that could have been in, like, Egypt or something. It looks really awesome. They did a good job. Okay, and the last biome really is this kind of hilly area. Basically, like what you'd see in the island. You get all your rocks and stuff over here. But overall, I mean, it's a very large map, and it did add a lot of new things, like the wyverns and griffins, which actually, we'll go take a look at that area real quick. I forgot about it. Okay, and here we have another area, which is basically a cavern surrounded by a bunch of, I guess a valley, surrounded by a bunch of waterfalls. Very beautiful design. Lots of flyers and stuff here, also Spinos. Very beautiful. Okay, and right next to that, truly our last biome that we'll be looking at is the plains area, where you get your griffins and such. Beautiful designs. It has castles in it. Like, that just looks amazing. Overall, Ragnarok is very beautiful, very fun, and challenging. But let's head into the next one. Okay, coming in at number 3 is going to be Aberration. This map was very innovative. It was kind of our first look at a futuristic design, which was pretty awesome. It's also one of the most challenging maps. So you started out here in this area where there was no water. You had to gather mushrooms if you wanted water, or go out to the more dangerous world, like so, where you'd have, you know, creatures like the Carcanos that was introduced. Very cool. Most of the map looks like this. There's 3 different sections. So there's the green area, which you're looking at right now. And once you made it past the green area, which was the safest, you have the blue area. Got a little bit more dangerous in this aspect, but it's very, very pretty with the bioluminescence. Very, very pretty. So in here, you'd be able to get a majority of your metal, and they also introduced Ravengers, which were around, but then also you have the Nameless that pop up when you don't have lights. So to counter that, oh, look at that. I don't think, that's not normal to this, but that's kind of cool. So to counter the light, you had special creatures like bulldogs and stuff that had their own bioluminescence that you could carry as shoulder pets, and that would stave them away. Also, you had charge stations for batteries, which you could use charge lights and stuff like that. Alright, and as you dive deeper into Aberration, you then have the red area, which is very, very mystifying. It has radiation, so you have to wear a rad suit to get through, but it also introduced rock drakes, like that guy's rocking out. So with the rock drakes, you could come down in here once you had your rad suit and basically steal a rock drake egg. Then you had to climb all the way out because there's no flyers in Aberration. That was definitely one of the most challenging things to do. Let's see, here we have some of the nameless. And if you get enough nameless, well, then you get the Reapers. There should also be Reaper Queens. And they were a very interesting aspect because you literally had to have them almost kill you and impregnate you, like basically aliens. And then you had to survive, then fight with the baby that tries to kill you so that you could tame one. Very interesting aspect. Okay, and the last aspect of Aberration was the surface. Very dangerous place, especially during the day. You basically don't want to come out here. You only come out here at night, and typically at night you'll find Reapers, Seekers. The most dangerous stuff you can think of on this map will be here. But it does look really cool. And overall, this map was really fun. Very, very difficult. Probably one of the most difficult. But it was a great map. And so now let's move on to our number 2. Alright, coming in at number 2 for me is Scorched Earth. This was the first DLC for Ark, and one of the absolute most challenging maps I've ever personally played on. Yes, Aberration was difficult. However, Scorched Earth punished you from the very start. As soon as you spawned in, you were in the middle of the desert, it was hot, there's no water around, and plenty of, dinos and stuff that will just tear you apart. When you find an obelisk, which, on most maps are pretty safe, you get water, but it's surrounded usually by Carpucci and stuff like that wants to just eat you. This is definitely one of the best maps for metal, though. If you're playing multiple maps and you transfer your stuff around, Scorched Earth, you're bound to get tons and tons and tons of metal. The one aspect that the couple things they introduced with this game was the rock golems, which could be any of these rocks. And if you get too close, they might just turn into a rock golem and smash you. So there was always that. Oh. So that's always fun. There isn't too much about diversity in this map. Oh, look at that. You have your rocky areas and you have your sand areas, where they also introduced the death worms. But in the sand areas, you'll get a lot of your creepy crawlies, the mantis, scorpions, all that fun stuff. They did have a dried out riverbed, which is where you could collect your silica pearls and stuff down in here. And they also have more of a hilly mountain area. This is where you'll get your RGs and all that stuff. All these creatures. But this definitely was the hardest to survive. They introduced adobe structures, which really the only purpose for the adobe structures is so that you didn't die from the heat all the time. And they had multiple weather events such as sandstorms, electrical storms, and heat waves, where they introduced the Phoenix. The other really cool thing about this map is that, you guessed it, Wervins. Wervin caves. I can't tell you how much time I've spent in these Wervin caves, but it was definitely worth it. Just come in here, steal an egg, and try to get away. Most of the time, build some kind of barrier that you can fly through that they can't fly through, so you can get away. But yeah, I mean, this map was crazy difficult. Nighttime was never better. And they also have cactuses. Let me find those. Oh, look at that. They have cactuses and stuff that you can harvest, like here. And then, of course, they have the caves, which you can explore, especially for crystal and stuff. But of course, you've got to navigate the deserts and stuff to really get through this map. And this will always be one of my favorite. I think I have the most hours here. They have random structures out in the desert, including this nice shanty town with some sort of coliseum. I wish they would have done more with this coliseum, but I mean, it looks really cool. But they could have had something in here, like a mini boss or something. That would have been cool. And of course, it did introduce the new boss, the Chimera, which was a really interesting fight. But overall, this is my number 2. Had a lot of fun on it. And let's go check out number 1. Alright, so for number 1, my map choice was Valguero. I've spent a lot of time on Valguero and had a lot of fun with it. It's also very diverse. The one disappointing thing is it was a fan-made map in which it had more creatures like the snow owl, what else? Well, basically a bunch of the Aberration creatures, rock drake, stuff like that, that Wildcard took out when they made it official. There are mods you can get to fix it back to the way it was, but yeah. Otherwise, I mean, this is a fantastically made map. There is an area right here where it's all herbivores, and you can get there as soon as you spawn in, making it relatively safe to start gathering and getting your experience. There are many different planes to this, and there is a lot of water, which is pretty awesome. Over here, we have our, I guess, tundra area. And it is one of the most dangerous areas in Valguero, but not the absolute most. And I love this area, especially because of this cave that's hidden inside this waterfall. Once you have a flyer, it's a very safe place to build in. As you can see, apparently I still have a bunch of stuff here. Whoa. Oh wow, I had a lot of stuff here. Anyways, also, this leads to the underground ocean. You go through there, and you will have access to that ocean. So they also have a lot of snow biome. I mean, it basically crosses the whole top north map. But it is pretty cool because this is the first area where you can consistently get ice wyverns. Wow, that roaring. So over here, you have this cavern where you can get ice wyverns. You can also delve in a little deeper into this fire cavern here, and you can get fire wyverns. There are no thunder or poison in here, but at least you have somewhat of a variety. And the way they did it, I mean, it makes sense. You have your ice and then your fire. I need to get out of here. Alright, and the next biome we have is more of a typical valley. It basically reminds me of the island. This is where you can get your stuff like beaver dams, which you could also get in the tundra, but it's more dangerous. This is a less dangerous area. And from here, we have the woods and the swamps. Very dense, but this is where you'll find all your creepy crawlies and stuff like that. Now, the unique area that they brought was the plains. These basically white cliff plains and this beach, or that's off of this beach here. These plains house a lot of your big predators, like your Rexes, your Allosaurs, and stuff like that. And it's very beautifully designed. I mean, it is definitely very cool when you have these little things. Now, this map also introduced a new creature, which was the Deinonychus, which is basically a feathered raptor. And of course, much like all new creatures, you can't just tame them the typical way. You actually have to find their eggs. I can't find any at the moment. You have to find their eggs and steal those. That's a regular raptor. But they were a lot of fun. They're not too hard to get. They're usually down in these valleys. That is a Deinonychus right there. So that's what they look like. They're usually down in these valleys. You can get on a bird. Hey, leave me alone. Come down, swoop an egg, and then fly out. Not too difficult at all. And the next area we have is our redwoods area. Also pretty dangerous. It houses a lot of your Thylacleos and terror birds, stuff like that. But it also houses the spider boss, which is in the regular game. No maps needed. Out in the open, just like this. Alright, and there's one more area we need to head to. Alright, and we also have the Aberration area, which is very cool to go through. And unfortunately, it doesn't really have the rock drakes and the reapers, stuff like that. But you can go through, and there's the blue and red zones as well. But you can go through, and there's the red zone here, which would have been cool originally when they made it. They made rock drakes. I have a mod which is allowing me to get those right now. That's a nice level. But it is cool to go to. There is, of course, radiation down here, so you will need it for this part. There's no blue area, which kind of sucks, because to me that was the prettiest, I guess, area in Aberration. But yeah. So anyways, hopefully you enjoyed this video. Those are my top 5s. Let me know in the comments what your favorite map is and why. If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and press that like button. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will catch you in the next one. As always, thanks for watching.